I was chatting with my sister-in-law on Messenger earlier, and I realized after I told her kind of some of the things that have changed in my life since I switched to Young Living, she said, I never knew that. I was like, wow, I guess I really haven't shared that. And so let me go ahead and do that. So I'm going to share a little bit of my Young Living story and how my life has changed since using these products. I was using essential oils before Young Living. I will tell you, since switching, I have noticed a big difference on how well they work and my body overall. So one thing that I used to suffer from were migraines, not the type where, oh my gosh, I have a splitting headache, I'm going to throw up, I can't move, but rather I would lose my vision. It would start, I could tell it was coming because all of a sudden the exact center of my vision would become like a pinpoint bright light. And I would be reading or something like that. And I'm like, why can't I see what I'm looking at? And I was like, oh, crud, I'm about to get a migraine. Within about 10 minutes, it would reverse and it would explode outward, and there would be just shimmering white, just kind of like a kaleidoscope in my peripheral vision, and I had tunnel vision. And all of that time, I would just have to sit there and wait and wait and wait until my vision returned to normal. Right before I started using Young Living, I had one of the most scary experiences that I've ever had in regard to migraines and just neurological function in general. I was standing in my mom's kitchen, and she and I were chatting, and all of a sudden I couldn't get my words to come out. I just start, like, any time that I would try to talk, gibberish would come out. Now, for those of you who don't know me, I have been doing medical imaging for 15 years. So I went literally high school, x-ray school, and then into my career. So I did x-ray for 5 years. I've been doing MRI for the last 10, and for the last 6 years almost, I have worked at a neuro hospital. So that means that we get a lot of strokes. We get a lot of people who have sudden cognitive impairment, okay? So, of course, think of how scary that is. I can't talk. Well, that's one of the signs of having a stroke. So your face is drooping. You might have numbness on one side. You might have a terrible, terrible headache. But speech difficulty, that is one of the signs that you're having a stroke. You can't talk correctly. And so imagine if I have scanned all of these patients and I see that they're trying to talk to me and they just can't get the words out. And I'm like, uh-oh, this is sounding familiar, because when I would talk, it would just be gibberish. And my mom is a nurse. So of course she's looking at me going, that's not normal. And we both kind of sat there for a minute, and fortunately, after about 20 minutes or so, the symptoms resolved. I was okay. We did like a test to make sure I could smile, because if your smile's uneven and one side is drooping, then obviously you're having a stroke, or potentially having a stroke. And, I was able to grip things evenly on both sides, so that meant that I wasn't having weakness, I wasn't having an uneven smile, things like that. So I didn't have all the signs of stroke. I didn't have a splitting headache. So it was obvious that there was something weird going on, but it probably wasn't a stroke. So let's fast forward a few years, because I started using Young Living almost 3 years ago. Y'all, it is hilarious, because a lot of times we are like that frog in a pot of boiling water. If you've ever heard that little parable, it's you can't throw a frog into boiling water because he will jump out. But if you want to boil a frog, I guess if you're weird or want frog legs, but you don't go throw a frog into boiling water. You just put them in cold water and then turn on the burner, and you let the water get hotter and hotter and hotter. And the frog is they're not noticing that subtle change in temperature until eventually they boil to death. And so I think so often that is how we live our lives. We don't recognize that we are boiling to death. We're just, oh, wow, this doesn't feel like it used to. I guess that's just normal aging, right? Wrong. Let's think about this for a second. Think about how old you were if you're a young woman or middle-aged woman, or just period, a woman. Think about how old you were when you started going through puberty. And now look at how old the kids are now, starting to go through puberty. I have 2 little girls. I started that whole process between the ages of 10 to 13. All of those changes started happening. My daughter at age 6 was starting to show some of those signs. 6 years old, y'all. So that was something that was an oh my goodness moment for me as well. And I got rid of all the plastics in our house as far as cookware and everything. And she only gets Young Living products on her because if I can keep my baby as long as possible. Jesus and I have already worked out. He is returning here for his bride, his church, before my girls go through puberty. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it. So anywho, if I can stave that off and give her that normal, healthy childhood, I'm going to do that. So what happens there? It's all of those extra things in all of our products. So let's fast forward now, 3 years in, I was sitting there talking to my husband and I was like, I never had an aha moment with like, it was this oil or this one product that made me a believer in oils and Young Living and doing things in a more natural way instead of doing things in a heavily processed or, what everyone else is doing kind of way. And then it hit me. I realized, I was like, do you realize that I have not had a migraine since I switched to like all the stuff in our house to Young Living? And he kind of thought for a minute. He was like, no, you haven't. It was so bad, y'all. We were driving, I don't remember where, but for 45 minutes, I just sat here like this because I was blind, couldn't see. And he was like, you okay? Are you okay? Because, of course he's worried about me. There was just flat out nothing he could do. And so that was one thing. It was like, duh, okay, wow, it wasn't one oil. It wasn't one thing. It was that I changed everything. I stopped cutting corners by going and just buying something at the grocery store without looking at the backside of the bottle label and seeing that it had sodium lauryl sulfate in it and all of the different methyl, ethyl, butyl, glycol, whatevers, and all of the yucky stuff that are put in our products. The thing that's great is with Young Living, I don't have to flip the bottle labels over because I just know that they won't use certain things in their products. So if you're lazy like me, that makes it easy. But I wanted to share that with y'all. And that leads me as a perfect segue into why do I now share with others? Y'all, it is not for fame and glory and power and all of these various things that I think sometimes people think. Yes, it is a network marketing business, but ultimately that just means that as I share my passion and I share my story with you and I teach you a better way of living your life so that you don't have to deal with the side effects of yuck like so many people are nowadays, then, in the long run, that could be something that gives you financial freedom as well. It could be something that helps you to retire you and your husband. And honestly, I feel so passionate about helping other people to get free. And that is why, if you go listen to my podcast and a lot of my teaching videos that coordinate with the podcast, I infuse Jesus into all of that too, because I don't believe you can be physically and emotionally free without him. And especially you can't have spiritual freedom. So to me, the whole point is let's reach people and make their lives better. Let's let them feel better and not have to deal with migraines. I have several friends who are I'm in my mid-30s. I'm 36 years old. I have several friends who are starting to develop chronic health issues. So let me tell you, speaking medicalese, you can have an acute healthcare issue. Acute means I caught a cold. I got hit by a bus. That's acute. It happens suddenly. Chronic means it's an ongoing problem. It means your body broke down somewhere and didn't get all the tools it needed to rebuild itself. Therefore, it's broken. So chronic health issues are becoming more and more prevalent nowadays. And the reason that is your body is getting synthetic foods at the grocery store that is not nutrient dense. It doesn't have whole foods in it. Instead, it has preservatives, fillers, dyes, and yuck instead of the good fruits, vegetables, healthy meats, and, nuts and all of the stuff that God made for us to be healthy. And if you think 50 years ago, we got our milk delivered by a milkman, and now we go get it to the grocery store and it doesn't spoil for 3 months. There's a reason. That's not good. That's not a good thing. It might be financially better for you, but it sure is not better for your body. So that is why I started sharing, because I have a passion for telling people that there's another option and that you don't have to, you're not just stuck. It's not just, oh, my body's just breaking down. Oh, that's just me getting older. Well, people are getting older at younger and younger ages these days. Just like puberty's happening younger, people are starting to get these chronic yuck issues in their life younger and younger. So if that is something that you don't want to deal with, that is something that you maybe want to avoid, then maybe consider Young Living and reach out to the person who either shared this video with you, or if you've never heard of it and you want to know more, go to freedominabottle.com, shoot me an email. I'm happy to talk with you and listen to your story and find out exactly why, or what's been going on with you and what I can do to help you, and why a lot of this stuff is happening. So one thing I want to share with you before we go, really quick, you're going to have to move with me here. So let's move up. I'm going to give you a little tour of my desk. Okay. This is the stuff that I surround myself with when I am working, whether it be writing a podcast or whatever. You can see my little fish, Diamond. Hi, Diamond. Oh, goodness. But this is my vision board. So some people have it as like a piece of cork board or poster board or something. This is me. This is, I have a lot of the stuff on this side, my family, my friends, my dreams, things that I want to do one day. I want to travel more. I want to be able to be a light to the world. I want people to be able to say yes to more. There's just things, there's so many things that we could have if we just are willing. And you can see here, don't you dare give up. Because sometimes, I won't lie to you, sometimes I get tired, and sometimes life gets hard, and sometimes I get discouraged. And so this is something, sorry, my light is being obnoxious here. But yes, those are things that resonate with me. This is the motorhome we've been restoring for many years. Just different things, even the magnets. I'll get you closer so you can read. But all of my magnets here have little happy expressions and sayings. And then on this side, I'm like working on my Dream 20 map of like the top 20 people that I want to work with in my Young Living business to help them get free and, realize their dreams too. But, these are the things that keep me going, and recognizing that people need help, and people, they deserve to be able to reach their dreams as well. And so that's my view whenever I'm working. I wanted to share that with you real quick because I feel like a lot of times, whether it be you hate your job, whether it be you are tired of emotionally just feeling like you can't make it anymore, maybe you are anxious about so many things in your life. Maybe it is that you just don't really feel like you have a purpose and you feel so lost and it's just so exhausting and frustrating. And you haven't leaned into your calling. Let me encourage you that you do have one. God is going to use you in an amazing, brilliant way that only you can be used. And I just wanted to encourage you, if you are in a spot where you just feel kind of yuck, this is the thing that I look at a lot is my goal is to create a life that I don't need a vacation from. And I want it to be that I don't have any financial constraints, so I can go be whatever I want whenever I want. I want it to be that I don't have any health issues that would preclude me from being able to go and shoot for the moon. I want it to be that I'm surrounded by friends, family, and loved ones, and that, my girls can have and do and be whatever they want. And I think that's totally possible. So I had to share that. This is why I share oils, because I want people to be able to believe in their dreams. I want people to not have stupid migraines where they can't see. I want people to be able to live freely. That is why I named my team Freedom in a Bottle. So if you would like to be more free, you need to shoot me a message. We need to be friends on Facebook. We need to have coffee and smell oils, because that's what it's all about.